Welcome everyone to the announcement of the grand prize winner of the ConX Tech Prize. This is the culmination of hundreds of hours of preparation, building, reviewing, and iterating from teams from across the planet, building new ventures to solve the world's most pressing environmental challenges. We have a packed audience today with our ConX Tech Prize project teams, our CXL team, some board members, some judges, and innovators throughout our community. Thanks everybody for joining us today. We're Conservation X Labs, a technology and innovation company that spurs solutions to stop the extinction crisis. We create new products in our labs, lead innovation competitions, and empower talented innovators across disciplines to collaborate and revolutionize the future of conservation. I'd like to introduce Paul Bungie, co-founder of Conservation X Labs, to say a few words and kick us off. And so I'm going to pass the mic to Paul.
Welcome, everyone. I am so excited about today and so pleased for all those who have joined us to learn about the winners of the ConX Tech Prize. I'm Paul Bungie. I'm one of the co-founders of Conservation X Labs, and on behalf of everyone, I want to give a hearty and unbelievably large congratulations to everyone that participated in this year's ConX Tech Prize, not least amongst, of course, those innovators that have shown just what is possible and what can be done, but also to all of our partners, to our judging panel, who've done incredible work reviewing and supporting. And then, of course, the ConX tributors this year, who have done such incredible work to help out and advance these kinds of innovations. We at Conservation X Labs, we have a mission to end the sixth mass extinction, the sixth extinction of this size in Earth's history, and the first to be caused by a single species, ours. And what this means is, of course, we need to drive massive exponential change in the way we do things in order to protect planet while also sustaining a thriving civilization. What we've seen, unfortunately, are that environmental conditions and the threats to biodiversity have grown at an exponential pace, while the solutions that we have at hand are at best linear and incremental. That is one of the reasons that we fixate so strongly on innovation, and even more strongly on building a community and a network of solvers and innovators from around the world that have ideas that can turn into solutions that can scale up to those world-beating innovations that ultimately help us get a handle on this extinction crisis. Today, you're going to see what I think, and most of us think, are some of the most incredible ideas and incredible teams that have participated in our ConX Tech Prize to date. We began this effort, using this type of a mechanism, a prototyping prize, with the notion that there were so many great ideas out in the world and so many great thinkers and ideators and solvers that just maybe needed a little bit of a hand in getting that first injection of money and that first injection of support that could allow them to turn that idea into reality. And asking ourselves, what could people do if they were given that little bit of support to turn it into a prototype and something that could really be transformed? And in this, the third annual installment of the ConX Tech Prize, we've all been blown away by the absolute amazing solutions that have been developed and showcased. This is by far the best cohort yet, and we've seen some incredible innovations in past years as well. And I can't say how excited I am to learn about who the winner is in this, but beyond that, we're actually just blown away by all of the finalists themselves and are excited as Conservation X Labs to continue working with all of these finalists, because you all are incredible thinkers, incredible ideators, and incredible doers, people that are actually creating new solutions to the very threats that undermine not only biodiversity on this planet, but the entirety of the environment upon which we humans themselves survive. So I can't wait to hear who wins. I can't wait even more to see what everyone does. And suffice it to say, we at CXL are going to be with you every step of the way, helping everyone fly with the eagles.
Thank you very much, Paul. And that's a perfect segue. I'm going to move straight into talking a little bit about the ConX Tech Prize, the mechanism of the actual competition itself, and how it works in its three stages. So as Paul described, the ConX Tech Prize is an early stage ideas-based prototyping competition that breaks roughly into three stages. In the first stage, we're ideating and coming up with different ideas, accepting different technology ideas from across the gamut, to solve wicked conservation problems. And I'll talk about the categories of this year's ConX Tech Prize and the types of projects that we're seeing this year. Then in the prototyping period, 20 of those teams are granted with $3,500 each to develop a prototype of their bold conservation idea in a rapid prototyping period of 12 weeks. And then finally, the point that we're at now, the finish line, one of those teams is awarded $20,000 to take their idea and bring it to the next level. So this is the culmination of not just 12 weeks of work for the teams that have been working hard to create their first prototype, but it goes far beyond that. For some of these ideas have been sitting around and have been getting initial traction for much longer, and certainly the CXL team has been putting many hours of work into this. So this is a very exciting moment for all of us, both project teams and the whole community alike. This year we were really fortunate with the cohort that we awarded the 20 finalist spots to. We had a real global distribution of all of these different teams, a diverse cohort of teams from around the world, 10 teams from North America, 1 team from South America, 2 teams from Europe, 1 team from Africa, 3 teams from Australia and New Zealand, and 3 teams from Oceania, Philippines, and Indonesia. And so as you can tell, it is quite difficult to get everybody onto a call together. And hopefully we've got some people here up very late at night, some people here up very early in the morning, and really appreciate everybody making it to this event. These 20 teams were solving an incredibly wide set of conservation problems, as you'll see a bit later as I go through each one of these solutions, with technology ranging across hardware to software, community, behavior change, and even synthetic materials. And it's been an incredibly strong cohort of projects. Those projects were judged by an equally impressive panel of judges with expertise in conservation, technology, business, science, and behavior change. The judges for the final stage of the Connex Tech Prize are, from left to right, starting at the top, Asha DeVos, CEO and founder of Ocean Swell, Sergio Estella, Chief Design Officer and co-founder of Visuality, Marcia Marsh, former COO of WWF, Daniel Satuniake, founding TinyML engineer at Edge Impulse, Nina Epps, Director of Global Marine and Polar Program at IUCN, Ted Schmidt, Principal Program Officer for Conservation Initiatives at Vulcan, Deidre Gibson, Associate Professor and Chair at the Department of Marine and Environmental Sciences at Hampton University, Eric Birkenpass, founder of Second Star Robotics, Beth Carlin, founder and CEO of Sea Change Institute, and Brett Jenks, CEO and founder of Rare Conservation. We're deeply grateful to these judges for contributing their time and expert to these projects. Each year, the Connex Tech Prize features 2 categories. This year, the first category was behavior change, incentivizing tools or products that use behavior change tactics to drive a positive conservation impact. In past years, we focused our categories on problem areas within conservation, like invasive species. But this year, we wanted to challenge our community of innovators to develop tools using the robust solution toolkit of behavior change tactic and strategies. Our second category is blue sky, which incentivizes any tool or product that creates a significant impact on a clearly defined conservation challenge. We host this second open category because early stage funding can be hard to come by, and we want to be able to create that activation energy that's needed for any project idea to leave the drawing board and come to life in order to build out the entire ecosystem of ventures that are working on conservation challenges. The 20 finalists across these 2 categories are considered together for the grand prize. So any one of the projects could win the $20,000 grand prize award based on their progress during the prototyping period and the merits of their idea. This year, the finalist projects in the behavior change category were Comp AI, an at-home smart composting solution using a wireless sensor unit to connect your compost bin to the smartphone and your community. Eco Weeders, a decision support tool to help conservation land managers choose non-chemical weed management practices for reforestation and conservation. Furs for Life, a bio-based leopard fur solution to replace hunted leopard furs in South African cultural and religious ceremonies. Greenfin's Global Hub, a digital platform to motivate scuba dive operators to improve their daily environmental practices at scale. Green to Go Pizza, an easy-to-use recyclable pizza box service for restaurants and consumers that reduces non-recyclable waste of pizza boxes. Region X Scenario Tool, a digital dashboard and toolkit to improve environmental and social governance and steer investors towards regenerative investments. Sea Level Rise VR Experience, a virtual reality tour that lets people see and feel what sea level rise is going to do to their coastal towns, city, and infrastructure, and to help them make better coastal management decisions. Tindagat.ph, a direct fisher to institution online marketplace to connect fishers along the entire supply chain in the Philippines. And in the blue sky category, this year, the finalist projects were Airborne DNA, a tool for collecting DNA from airborne biological materials containing genetic information like skin or hair, which then continue to persist in the air. Buy-in, using geospatial data tools to match coastal neighborhoods with high conservation potential with conservation financing organizations to transform hazardous real estate into conservation assets. Elements of a supercoral, exploring the elemental composition of supercorals to learn how to protect coral reefs for the future. Coddy the Coral Guardian, a swarm of underwater automated vehicles with high-resolution cameras to map coral reef health and growth. Powerful Seeds, a low-cost seed coding platform capable of increasing the efficiency of reforestations around the planet through seed balls for direct sowing. QR Code ID from UAV, an animal tracking system using QR codes on the back of sea turtle shells and drones to fly over them to ID the individual animal. Rat Spitfire Kill Device, a smart long-life deployment device that attracts, detects, and kills rats. Smart Wildlife Warning Solution, an Internet of Things enabled traffic sign that minimizes roadkill by warning drivers of the animal presence with lights and monitors animal data for ecologists and transportation agencies to better protect wildlife ecosystems. Species Safari Cam, detecting wildlife species on safari using machine learning and vehicle-mounted cameras to automate species monitoring through ecotourism. Terrapin Tracker, a low-power, lightweight, waterproof tracker for terrapin turtles using LoRaWAN networks. Wild insect traffic sensors, using optics to create a tracking system for wild insects that can be deployed in the wild for effective insect measurements. And Wildlife Trafficking Predictor, an algorithm to cross-reference data on deforestation and wildlife trafficking to help us anticipate wildlife trafficking incidents when deforestation occurs. Before we go on, I'd like to make a personal congratulations to all of the finalist project teams. This year, for all of us, I think, has been one of the most challenging years in recent memory. And yet, the overall quality of all 20 of these finalist projects that we granted this year was incredibly high. And despite all of the barriers that 2020 has thrown in their way, the outputs at the end of the prototyping period have been truly extraordinary. The prototypes that they completed, the assets that they created, the collaboration with the community, the focus and dedication to their project in this most difficult of years has been really, truly inspiring. So my congratulations to you, and thank you for putting in all the hard work through this past 12 weeks and before. But only one team can win the $20,000 grand prize, and so I'm happy to announce that the grand prize winner of the 2020 Connex Tech Prize is Powerful Seeds. Congratulations to Lot Amoros, Daniel Calatiud, Sergio Procama, and Cristobal Campos for winning the grand prize with their open source seed coding reforestation solution. We have Lot Amoros here with us to say a few words and present their project's pitch deck. Lot, I'll be passing the mic over to you in just a few minutes, but before I do, we have one more thing. This year, the project quality of work from our finalists was so extraordinary that we decided that a single grand prize award wasn't enough. So we're happy this year to announce 2 additional grant awards of $5,000 each, the Erasing Extinction Award and the Lemur's Choice Award. The Erasing Extinction Award is presented to a project team that holds the highest potential impact on a single species. This year, we're happy to award the Erasing Extinction $5,000 award to Furs for Life, Congratulations to Jeff Dunning, Gareth Whittington-Jones, and Tristan Dickerson for their bio-based leopard fur solution to replace hunted leopard furs in South African cultural and religious ceremonies. The Lemur's Choice Award is presented to a high-scoring team that impressed both the judges and the CXL team with high potential for real-world impact, excellent progress during the prototyping period, and use of behavior change levers. This year, we're happy to award the $5,000 Lemur's Choice Award to Greenfin's Global Hub. Congratulations to James Greenhull, Samantha Craven, Juliana Corrales, Melissa Hobson, JJ Harvey, and Chloe Harvey for their scalable digital platform for scuba dive operators to adopt green practices and prevent tourism damage to coral reefs. Now, I'm going to hand over control to Lot Emeros from the Powerful Seeds team to say a few words and present their pitch deck, if we can. And stay tuned afterwards for an announcement about our next big challenge initiative at CXL. Okay, Lot.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just cut you off as soon as we said that. There you are. We can hear you now.
Fantastic. So thank you so much. I mean, it's amazing with all of the incredible projects and amazing projects. I mean, yeah. We at the end we didn't think that was possible, but yeah. So thank you so much for the opportunity to bring our machine to the next level. Thank you.
Lot, we'd love if you could walk us through your pitch deck.
Yeah, fantastic. So the Zoom tell me that it's not possible to start video. I can share the screen. Just a second to see that. Yeah, can you see my screen?
We can.
Fantastic. Yeah, so I will share the pitch deck that we sent to the contest. It's very simple. Technology to perform large-scale, low-cost and ecosystem restorations with direct sowing, because actually with the actual technology, this is like the index of my speech, but yeah, with the actual technology, it's very difficult to perform large-scale ecosystem reforestations. No, this is what our technology enable: this large-scale restoration. And we was inspired by nature. No, nature does not plant trees; it sows seeds. So why not to follow the ideas of nature and replicate their way of reproduction? No, right now transplanting is very expensive and it's difficult to control. It's expensive mainly because we need to go back to the field and watering the plants. So this is time consuming and requires a lot of resources, a lot of people. No, also these problems with seedlings force reforestation organizations to transplant mainly pines. That is the main species that works well with watering. So this complexity are forcing the reforestation organizations to make a monoculture, and we need biodiversity, no, to have a healthy forest. And this is a technology, the seed enhancements, like how to work with seeds with different technologies to boost the germination. This is already done in the agricultural industry, like in horticultural seeds like tomatoes and all of the seeds that we eat normally. They have some kinds of treatments to improve and boost their germination. But since there are big companies that have this knowledge by secret, and we would like to open this black box of seed technology. And this graphic is like the main reason why reforestation by seeds are not performed well in our world is because there is a failure point, a lack of control in the germination of seeds. So this is why companies go to seedlings and not to seeds, because it's uncontrollable, the germination and establishment of the seeds in the initial periods. But after the emergence, there is more or less a continuity of survival or an expected survival that we can control. So the problem is in the early steps of the germination of the seeds. So our solution combines different approaches. As I said, we are based in nature, and we don't use chemical products or pesticides. We work with nature, with elements that we can find in nature. We would like to build a digital network to share the recipes of the seed balls and also to learn each other. Since we need money to reforestation, we want to make a sustainable project that can grow with a network by workshop of reforestation projects. By doing open source, we would like to make a big impact around the world. Actually, there is some people interested around the world in make the machine already. So we expect that opening by open source, we can actually scale a lot the impact of the reforestation projects around the world by the number of projects and also by their size. These are the three main technologies. In this contest, we was focused in coating, that is this adding this layer of different elements to the seed. But there is also priming, that some Daniel or colleague is investigating with priming, and also we have some people investigating in miniaturization. This symbiotical combination of fungi and seed balls is very important for the survival and establishment of the seeds. And the coating enables these adding elements by introducing in the formula of coating this fungi of mycorrhiza. So we believe that direct sowing can reduce cost, can enable this large-scale reforestation. And yeah, we believe that it's a path that we should follow to enable at large scale the reforestation around the world. For doing this is the machine that we made. This actually is an early working prototype, and we made videos, 3D printable models, schematics, diagrams, 3D printable models that people already can download the files and start replicating the machine because we have everything online. This machine able the high scalability, because in a few hours we can create literally millions of seed balls. So we believe that it's a very clever idea to enable this large scale reforestation. Or users of this machine could be NGOs, public or private companies that could use this machine to improve the germination and establishment, or also agroforestry projects that would like to combine traditional species with the forest. What are doing in the different companies in the world to reforest with some kind of technology? We put it here different approach. Cocoon by Volterra, it's kind of a donut that it's kind of a water tank to collect water. So it's a way to don't need to watering the seedlings. We also follow the model of Seed Balls Kenya that showing us are showing to all the world that seed balls work, that they have a very good establishment and survival. So we are trying to replicate their model of recipes to the rest of the world and different ecosystems. And there are different organizations around the world that work with coating for tomatoes, pepinos, and there is also a good point to look how the market of seeds in the agriculture, in the conventional agriculture established, to see what work and what not, to move these ideas to the world of native species. And also another alternative is to our machine is to use kind of Chinese machines that that are used to coat different eatable ingredients, no, for kitchen, no, for human consumption. These machines could be adapted to native seed coating, but we decided to construct our own machine. And this is our main advantages. We deliver public knowledge, our recipes. It's open source science because we can do it with other organizations in Spain, Europe, or across the world. To perform this, we need an open methodology and accessible tools because all the experiments need to be replied in order to assure that it's true that our experiments that are working on the germination, the expected germination are the same in different experiments. Our business model, something that is not written here, is that we can also, the machine is open source, we can also sell the machine or invite people to build the machine. We share the links in different shops that we can earn a little bit percentage, like affiliate links. We can also be sustainable by doing workshops around the world or even online. Now we are more thinking in online workshops about how to use the machine, and even using the machine, we can be sustainable by doing reforestation projects or also assisting other reforestation projects. These projects can be done by ourselves or also by other people, and we can assist them with our technology. This is our team. I'm a computer engineer. Daniel, that is the seed researcher. He's a specialist in priming and coating. Sergio, that is he's the designer of the 3D printing materials and different materials that are used in our machine. And our data scientist and biologist, Cristobal Campos from the University of Alicante. We started with this idea long time ago, maybe 8 years ago, when we started to building these seed balls by hand, following the ideas of Masanobu Fukuoka, the inventor of Nendo Dango seed balls. Then we started to make scientific research. We started to also to work with the early prototypes or early ideas of this machine with a cement mixer. So we made a lot of tests. We read a lot of scientific papers about different materials, and then we had the opportunity to present the machine to this contest. And the next steps are use the machine. Actually, we had the machine. Now is the time to use it to create different formulas, around 10 or 20 different formulas that we will test in the Mediterranean ecosystem to understand what is the best formula for each species and our ecosystem. And then make the reforestation project and even product with the machine that we can share and sell to other organizations around the world. That's it. We have our seed lab in Spain, in La Alpujarra, in the mountains of Sierra Nevada. Here is where we research with seeds. And yeah, thank you so much for your attention. We are very happy. and we will share the results, the improvements that we are already doing. Then last weeks we improved already with some formulas that we will start sharing in our social networks. Thank you so much for your attention.
Congratulations, and thank you so much as well for your incredible work with Powerful Seeds. And now that we have a little bit of time, I would love to hear as well from James and the Greenfin's Global Hub team, and Jeff and the Furs for Life team. And now I know that James is here. So James, I'm going to allow you to talk in the webinar here. We can hear you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. It's 6:30 in the morning here. Can you hear me okay?
We certainly
First
can.
off. Brilliant. So I just want to say we're hugely excited, and this is obviously very unexpected for us. We didn't know that there was going to be these sort of 2 new sub-prizes. So it's a kind of an honor and a privilege to have been selected for the Lemur Award. So thank you to that. And I guess we'd just like to extend that thank you to not only to you, Tom, and to everybody else at Connex that supported us, but also to our tributors, particularly Kevin and Davina, who have been really instrumental during the project in giving us advice and support and making sure that we have the best kind of behaviour change impact that we can with this system. And we're just really excited to you know, to be taking this project forward for the rest of this year and into next year. So yeah, huge thank you.
James, are you on a desktop or something that you could share and walk us through your pitch deck?
Yeah, I'm on my laptop and we can do that, sure.
Great, that would be wonderful. I'll go ahead and work with the permissions here. Okay, James, you should have permissions now and be able to share your screen.
Let's set this up. Can you see that okay?
Yes, we can.
Lovely. So, well, good morning, everybody. So my name's James Greenhalgh, and I'm the Digital Strategy Manager at the Reef Foundation, and I'm speaking to you this morning from the Philippines. So it's a little after 6:30 here. I have had a coffee, so hopefully it won't be too rusty, but yeah, see how we go with this. So, so our project is the Greenfin's Global Hub, and as Tom alluded to, we're trying to apply digital scaling for sustainable marine tourism. Now, hopefully, it's you know, it's apparent to everybody here that coral reefs are hugely important ecosystems for us, and that there is a real risk that we could end up losing these ecosystems if we don't take immediate action. There's the potential we could lose up to 90% by 2050, and with that, obviously, there are some significant implications. Firstly, that coral reefs generate a huge amount of income in terms of tourism and in supporting the local communities that benefit from tourism, and we think it's about 36 billion per year. But also, obviously, they're instrumental in direct local benefits, so you know, fisheries, protection from coastal erosion, and you know, preventing, I should say, the spread of infectious diseases. And we think that tourism can be, you know, a threat to these ecosystems, but it's also a real opportunity. And you know, carefully managed tourism is both in demand and can have a real kind of positive benefit for coral reefs. So what is Greenfins? Well, Greenfins is an initiative, and it's originally conceived by the United Nations Environment Programme, and it's coordinated by us, the Reef World Foundation. And so what we, at its heart, Greenfins is really a code of conduct, and it's taken to dive and snorkel operators, and it's used to minimize direct local impacts, human impacts on coral reef ecosystems. And the way that it works is, at its heart, is an annual assessment process. So Greenfins is adopted in 11 countries around the world, and there are national teams there with human assessors, and they physically go into dive and snorkel operators that have agreed to participate in the program and have signed up to the code of conduct. And each year they receive an in-person assessment, which in itself is underpinned by this complicated but effective risk model. And after the assessment, the centre is given a number of actions that they can take to reduce their environmental impact over the year, and then this happens annually. And when combined with capacity building and awareness raising, and also doing local regulatory work, we see a really positive incremental improvement or an incremental reduction in direct threats to marine ecosystems over time. And the program originally started in 2004, so over the last 16 years, we've really seen that it is a proven and replicable system, initially in just a few countries, but now, as I said, scaled up to 11. And ultimately, Greenfins is the only internationally recognised standards for the diving and snorkeling industry. So why is Greenfins effective? Well, the code of conduct is very applicable. It applies to the whole operation, so both the staff in dive centres, but also to the customers that visit them. And it applies both above and below the water, so it's really the whole operation. People often think about kind of like, people kicking corals, and that is obviously really bad, but actually the dive centre itself could be leaking toxic wastewater, or single-use plastic on the boats can also play quite a big role in that direct damage. So looking at the whole operation. Greenfins is effective because it's annual and it's repeated, and we have trained assessors that come in and conduct these assessments. And then at its heart, there is an assessment system with a score. So the dive centres themselves know what their score is each year, but we can also look at averages for a local area or for a country to better understand how the environmental performance of that area is changing over time. And again, as I said on the previous slide, after each assessment, there's a tailored consultation. So the dive centre gets some tailored recommendations specific to their operation, and some low-cost practical solutions with it that they then have a year to implement, and that continues. So what we see is that over time you see a steady but quite dramatic improvement, or I should say a reduction in environmental threats from these operators. So if we look at data from Malaysia over a 3-year period, you can see that, and in this model, high is bad. You have an initial average score for Malaysia of 179, which is a kind of an average for a first year, but still on the high side, higher than we would like to see. But then you can see over time that there is that reduction as we continue to do assessments and continue to expose people to Greenfins messaging and materials and solutions. And this is really powerful. So we've got a couple of quotes here from the industry. No operator wants to be damaging the environment that they depend upon, and so we find operators interact very positively with Greenfins because they want to be doing the right thing. But it's also, there's a clear economic incentive that tourists want to find operators that are doing the right thing, and tied back into that increase in demand for green tourism. Now this is all well and good, and Greenfins at its core is a successful program, but there's a real opportunity to apply digital innovation to Greenfins and to dramatically increase our scale from the 11 countries and the approximately 600 centres that we've reached so far, and to really grow that and to expand the messaging and to get the solutions to a much wider audience. So using digital, we can reach 10,000 dive operators globally and really get that messaging and that benefit out to the 171 million coral reef tourists that visit these destinations every year. So how do we do that? Well, for us, we think that the Greenfins Global Hub is the solution. And the hub will be a first of its kind environmental behaviour change platform for dive and snorkel operators. And again, very much taking the core model and making it digital. So we'll obviously register people onto the platform and get them signed up. And in order to make the platform sustainable, then there will be an annual subscription fee that they pay. They'll also sign a version of the code of conduct, so they can then become a digital member at the end of this loop. We'll then take them through a self-evaluation where they'll answer questions linked to our code of conduct, and it will be analogous to the assessment that a trained Greenfins assessor would do on the ground, but obviously adapted for digital, and also adapted because it's very difficult to verify things remotely. So this is, for us, we see this as an opportunity to change behaviour and to raise awareness. But ultimately, answering these questions allows us to go on to the next stage, which is creating an action plan, where the system, based on the manager of the centre's answers, will make 3 to 5 recommendations for threats that they need to address, and it will also provide the solutions for those. And between the self-evaluation and the action plan, we do see an opportunity for artificial intelligence and machine learning to play a role, both in helping us to validate the answers to the evaluation questions, but also to look at patterns and trends over time. So quite an exciting and interesting application there. Once the action plan has been agreed to by the user, the system will then open up and they'll have unrestricted access to the rest of the hub, where there'll be a community support feature, so discussion forums, access to the tools, knowledge and materials that exist for addressing environmental threats. And again, we see this as quite a powerful way for dive operators, snorkel operators to find one another, to speak to one another, and to share information about the challenges, the environmental challenges that they're facing, and also to collaborate on solutions to those challenges. Because again, in the core program, what we found is that when local operators band together, they can then actually make quite a big impact on local regulation or local solutions to environmental challenges, and the community support aspect will help us scale that up to a much wider area. And then this is a loop, so like with the core program, digital membership will renew every year. So then at the end of the year, they'll then go back through, reaffirm their commitment to the code of conduct, go back through the evaluation, hopefully receive a different set of threats, having implemented solutions to the ones suggested in the previous year, and then allowed back into the community, where again we'll want to use incentives and kind of highlight and reward those members that are engaging with their action plan and are reducing their environmental threats. So through digital, then you can see here that we can dramatically expand our current reach through online self-evaluation and through digital membership. So going from the 600 operators that we've exposed to Greenfin so far, and potentially taking that all the way up to 30,000 operators. And again, you can see how that trickles down into a much bigger reach in getting that messaging and that benefit out there. The system obviously makes digital membership possible and provides that access to robust practical conservation practices. Greenfins has always been a low-cost program, and that is our intention again with digital, to make the solutions achievable and without great expense to the operators that participate. We have a website which is greenfins.net, and on there we list all of the members that participate in the program, including with a searchable map, and digital members will form part of that, again, which will in turn make it easy for tourists to find those operators that are actively participating and actively reducing their environmental threats. And ultimately, the whole point of this project is to take the 16+ years of grassroots experience that our charity has in our directors, programs, management, communications, and so on, and to put that online digitally and to make it more widely available. Now, obviously, we've talked about the direct benefits of the hub, but there will also be a sort of a wider ripple effect, if you like. Greenfins has always been about local communities and promoting that skilled workforce. So by using the hub to build awareness of local marine threats and the solutions for those, we increase not only the sector resilience, so making sure that dive operators still have coral reefs to dive on and so that tourists can still visit them, but also that environmental resilience. So by removing or reducing the direct local threats, the environment will be more resilient. Historically, the program has been able to achieve a 34% female participation rate, and again, the hub will allow us to build on that and continue to increase the amount of female participation in the program, both digitally and at its core. As Reef has developed Greenfin's courses, and they will move into the hub in a later phase. And again, by building online courses and again making more information available digitally, we improve the employability of local people. So we have a dive guide course, and we've started to see that employers actually are now looking for dive guides and dive professionals that have done the Greenfin's dive guide course as a differentiator, and that then all the professionals that do that immediately become more employable, and that's a great benefit to local people. Again, a kind of a continuing theme throughout our project in this presentation, which is that increasing demand for green tourism. So, operators participating in Greenfins will attract, more travellers, more tourists, and will be better able to kind of cater for more demanding tourists that want to see operators doing the right thing and taking care of and being stewards for the environment. Obviously, as I said on the previous slide, the community aspect, we want people to collaborate on solutions to their local challenges and to be coordinated in that activity, and that will have hopefully a positive rippling effect out there, and same with policy. So getting local government involved, and all the way up to national and international level, so the SDGs and so on, and the next set of biodiversity policies that come into effect can be informed by data that we collect from the hub and also from the core Greenfins program. So in terms of the business model for this, as I said at the beginning, we are planning to charge for this system to make sure that we cover the cost of operating the system, but also to actually generate sustainable funding to further expand the core program out to new countries. This digital system won't replace the core Greenfins program, and in fact, actually, not only do we see it as a sort of a stepping stone to core Greenfins in countries where Greenfins isn't available yet, but it will actually generate a surplus of income that can then fund core Greenfins adoption into new countries and to expand its reach in existing countries where we've already established teams. Our market research shows that based on a $140 sign up and a $60 annual renewal, that we'll be able to break even in the third year of operation, based on some reasonable assumptions about retention and how big the market is. So again, really exciting that we'll be able to reach sustainability so quickly. And that is obviously thanks to grants from Conservation X, the initial seed grant, and winning this prize, but also we've been very fortunate and have received funding from other sources as well. So we are now able to begin development. I won't go into too much detail about this, but obviously it was a very busy 12 weeks, and during the time we managed to create a lo-fi prototype of the hub. 1 or 2 screens have now got high fidelity designs, but really the bulk of our time was spent on that evaluation model. Again, greatly assisted and aided by our Connex distributor, Davina. So huge thank you to her. And now, building on that success, we're able to go into sort of the next level of detail with the project. So hugely beneficial prototyping period for us working through the Connex Tech Prize. So just to sort of wrap up the presentation, it's really clear that we must address threats to coral reefs and we must scale Greenfins, and the way to do that now is through digital transformation. So for us, our plan now is to initiate a tender process, and this is quite a big project, so we will be looking to engage a professional third party to help us build it. We expect that over the next 6 to 8 months we'll be able to build a minimum viable product, which is a launchable product that is a starting point for us to build from, and a pilot phase with 50 dive centres, and then from there we'll be able to build on that success and expand out to more regions. So again, huge thank you to everybody that's been involved in the project, because yeah, the Global Hub will have a direct positive impact on the environment, and it's brilliant that we will now be able to take this project forward. So yeah, huge thank you to everybody.
Thank you, James, and congratulations to you and your team as well. Really interesting and impactful project. And now I want to reach out to Jeff Dunning. Jeff, if you're able to talk, I'm going to give you the admin privileges here to allow you to talk and ask you to say a few words from the Furs for Life team.
Hi, Tom. Yeah, thanks. It's fantastic that, winning this award. We're truly honored, and I mean, this whole experience of the prototyping thing with the Connex Labs has been such a journey and such a wonderful experience. So really, just thank you from all of us here who've been involved in the Furs for Life project. Thank you for this. It's truly been incredible.
Jeff, would you be able to or like to walk us through your pitch deck?
Sure, I can take you through it quickly.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
My screen.
It just so happened, so everyone knows, that all of the awardees ended up being in time zones that are extraordinarily inconvenient for them, despite my attempts to make it at a time zone that was going to be able to fit everybody on. This is the challenges of having a cohort of finalists that are spread across so many different continents, but
yeah,
such is life.
Yeah. I don't think I have screen sharing privileges here.
Let me take care of that. All right, you should be able to share screen now.
Okay. How's that? Is that working?
Certainly is.
Okay, great. So yeah, we're the Furs for Life project. My name's Jeff Dunning. I work for Panthera. I do most of their demand reduction work. But essentially, this Furs for Life project is a partnership with the Shembe Church. Now, the Shembe Church was founded in the early 1900s by the prophet Isaiah Shembe, and it was essentially a way of merging the sort of Christian Nazareth faith with the traditional Zulu practices. And it was kind of a beautiful way of bringing those two sort of spiritual elements that are found in South Africa together. And one of the practices that was maintained through all of this, or that emerged through all of this and spread throughout the entire Shembe community, was the use of leopard skin capes that they wear around their shoulders that are known as amambata. And, historically, it was only the royal family that was allowed to wear these. But over time, that tradition sort of got enforced and expanded throughout the entire Shembe community. And we estimate that these days there's about 800 leopards killed in the region to supply this demand. And, in South Africa, it's estimated that there's only somewhere between 1,600 and 6,900 leopards in existence. So, it is potentially quite a large threat to the population. And the Shembe Church itself, we're not, no one's entirely sure how large the congregation is, but there's potentially up to 4 million followers. And there's a teaching there from the prophet that says that every man must own a leopard skin amambata. And from our research, we estimate that, these will last roughly 6 to 7 years at the absolute most before they start seeing wear and tear and need to be replaced. You can see in the images here, the dancers perform Mgidi, wearing the leopard skin amambata that I've been speaking about. And so Panthera decided to try and make synthetic leopard skin amambata and see if that would be something that would be acceptable and something that would work with the Shembe community. And they started this quite a while ago, producing very high quality synthetics that you can see on the left there. And they, while they are incredibly similar to the authentic amambata that we see on the right, there are some differences and definitely some room for improvement. But critically, I think we try to use a behavior-centered design approach to really ensure proliferation of the use of these throughout the entire community. And so what we did, we started in the beginning at the bottom left there, trying to create the change awareness using this sort of behavior change model, where we donated the synthetic leopard skin directly to the community and just gave it away freely, with the idea that we just wanted to get as many out there as possible and try and get it sort of socially acceptable as broadly and as quickly as possible. The second part of the model is sort of called fostering intention. And it was at this point that, our partners within the Shembe Church itself came to us and said, we'd much rather sell these garments instead of distributing them freely, because there's already a huge market for the trade and sale of leopard skin. So, you know, we started producing it at cost for the church, and the church started reselling it, which, you know, drove a fundraising avenue for the church itself. You know, the third step was then action, where the alma mater became socially accepted and started proliferating through the community. And now we're looking at action maintenance and how we actually make that behavior stick. And, you know, if we look at the theory of the social diffusion of innovation theory, you know, you can sort of break your audience down into these key groups, which is the innovators, the first people to really try it out, and then your early adopters, your early majority, your late majority, and finally your laggards. And we can see already within the Shembe Church, you know, for example, our laggards would be the sort of elderly gentlemen who it's just too much of a change for them to start wearing these synthetic alma mater. There's quite a strong belief amongst some of the more elderly parts of the community that, you know, using these would be is something that, you know, they wouldn't be able to commune effectively with their ancestors if they were wearing the synthetics. But what we have seen is that, you know, we're entering the early majority phase of distribution throughout the entire community. And since the start of the project in 2013, we've distributed over 18,500 garments or alma mater. And we've seen that roughly 50% of the dancers who are performing Umgidi at major gatherings are wearing synthetic alma mater. And this has sort of stabilized at just below 50% over the last few years. We retail our garments at 800 Rand, or rather the church does, and that's a markup of 100%, which goes directly to the church. But importantly, an authentic leopard skin can cost up to, on average, 9,000 Rand. So we're almost at, you know, less than a tenth of the price of the real thing. And while that helped us achieve the sort of broad social acceptability we were looking for, it did, I think, undervalue our product a little bit within the community and just sort of undersold us a bit. And so our focus now is, you know, as part of this prototyping journey, was how do we grow market share and ensure that this new behavior is maintained? And one of the things we realized in our research with the community is that there's an intersection of wealth and culture. So while it is a cultural practice and a cultural and spiritual requirement to wear the alma mater when dancing Gidi, when conducting your prayers, and when communing with your ancestors, we also found that, you know, the largest predictor of buying an authentic leopard skin is securing a stable job and increasing one's income. So 9,000 Rand, you know, can be quite a lot relative to the average income in South Africa. And so it is quite a large expense for a lot of people. But there's this group within the Shembe community for whom 9,000 Rand isn't a massively large expense. And they potentially spending up to 20,000 Rand on a single leopard skin. And so there's this intersection of wealth and culture where buying a more expensive leopard skin or a better quality leopard skin not only secures you the sort of cultural prestige, but also another layer of social prestige, that because we were selling our garments for so cheap, we just weren't able to capture that market at all. We weren't speaking to them at all. And so for the prototyping phase, you know, we decided to take our original synthetic and try to update it with a sort of completely new type of fabric and a new leopard print. So you'll see the difference does appear quite subtle, but the print itself is a lot more realistic. Looking at the one on the right in the updated version, which is, you know, the community itself has responded a lot more positively to. But, you know, the other thing you can see is that along the lining of the original garment, there's sort of a thick edge, which we tried, which didn't give it a realistic feel, which we try to do away with the new stitching technique. And also the material itself is the new material is completely biodegradable, it's completely bio-based, which alleviates any sort of concern that was raised in the past over microplastics or any sort of issues around that, and it just completely erases that. But critically, what it does, this new fabric is a lot more rougher, and the stitching is a lot more rougher, which gives it a much more authentic and genuine look and feel. And so, you know, this is what we're calling version 1 of our luxury alma mater that we're going to try and use to target that more affluent luxury segment within the community. You know, ultimately, the core of our project is that we want to see stable and thriving leopard populations across Southern Africa, but also the preservation of the beautiful Shembe culture. Attending some of these gatherings is really an amazing experience. And we want to make sure that, you know, we find a way that we can balance these two things. You know, we want to see the beauty of leopards in nature, but we also want to see the beauty of the shembe, you know, on full display. And to be successful in this, I think, you know, we really essentially have to outcompete leopards. You know, you can see from the photo here that the pelt and of this, I mean, she's just gorgeous. You can just see it. She just looks so beautiful standing there. But essentially what we need to do is we need to ensure that our synthetic amambata are a more attractive option, not only for our consumers, but also for the retailers themselves. Because if we can convince both the retailers and the consumers that it's a much better option to sell the synthetic amambata, you know, then we can start potentially disrupting the illegal trade from both the supply and the demand side. And we have seen that this illegal trade is, you know, affecting populations all across the region of Southern Africa, not just in South Africa. So it's taken on an international smuggling or international trade rather as well. And I think the sort of core business model of how we can outcompete this illegal trade is, you know, firstly, we have a global supply chain that is relatively stable, you know, barring COVID, obviously, with all the associated problems thereof. But, you know, it's certainly a lot more stable than, say, hunting a leopard. It can be increasingly difficult to find a leopard and you know, hunt it and then cure it and then bring it back and sell it. You know, so what we offer the retailers is that we've got a sort of steady supply of amambata that they can just get out the door really quickly instead of having to go through this whole process of trying to source a real leopard skin. In addition to that, you know, we're able to support these retailers and work with them. These, you know, these are guys who are selling the authentic leopard skin, and we can go to them and work with them and say, you know, what kind of support do you need? How can we increase your profit margins selling the synthetic? How can we, you know, increase your marketing capacity? What is it that we can do from a technical or financial standpoint? How can we support you? And, you know, the third element of this is our production capacity, is that we can really have great quality and control standards through our tailoring factory, where, you know, an authentic leopard skin, the quality can vary quite significantly. Some of them are really not great, and some of them are absolutely incredible. Whereas ours, we can control that, and we can go to our retailers and to our consumers and say, you know what you're going to get. You know, we've got a sort of standard quality that we commit to delivering. And I think the fourth sort of key part of our business model is that, you know, as a sort of Panthera is a sort of large international NGO, and we can really use that to create the kind of partnerships that we would need for this for these, you know, retailers and for this project to thrive and to really become profitable. And we can then start seeking, you know, key partnerships, whether it's with fabric producers and even tailors all across the world and here in South Africa. And I think critically, you know, one of those partnerships is with Ecopel, which is a sustainable fur producer, and they are seen as global leaders. They're, you know, constantly innovating and looking for new ways to reduce their environmental footprint, which is, you know, wonderful for us, because, you know, that's something that we're constantly trying to do as well, trying to find ways of reducing our environmental footprint. And they've now agreed to donate 900 meters of synthetic leopard fur as a start, which would equate to roughly 800 amambata. So that gives us a really nice, strong platform to launch our luxury range. We've also partnered with Mtaku Tailors, and what they've done is they've really professionalized the sort of sewing and production capacity that we have. You know, previously this project was sort of a cottage industry where we were just kind of doing it out, you know, out of some guy's garage, basically. But having Mtaku Tailors has really, really streamlined things and really improved our production capacity quite a lot. But critically, you know, our main partner is the Nazareth Baptist or Shembe Church and their traders. You know, this is essentially their project. It's their culture that we're trying to preserve. It's, you know, it's their heritage in many ways that we're trying to protect in the leopards. And, you know, we really need to create a sense of ownership and place the Shembe, make sure that it's the Shembe Church itself that's driving this project forward. Because, yeah, ultimately it's up to them. And us as Panthera, you know, our role is really to just support them and help them in whatever way that we can throughout this. You know, part of this prototyping period, we also, in partnership with the Shembe Church, looked at, you know, how can we make this more profitable for the church itself and for the traders. You know, selling only the amambata, we're only targeting one aspect of the traditional regalia of the community. And so we started working on a few different designs. So there's the purple crested turco inspired neck piece. The purple crested turco is a very significant animal within the Zulu tradition and in a few other cultures across Southern Africa as well. So it features quite prominently. And we're working on developing a neck piece like that. Similarly, the turco and leopard headdress, as well as a leopard print kilt. We're looking at something around an amambata inspired leopard jacket that we think could be quite cool. And then also designing a range of traditional dresses for the Shembe women. And we think this will really sort of grow our customer base, but also potentially diversify our revenue streams and really help make sure that this project is profitable going forward. And so, you know, the Shembe Church itself can, you know, we can transition to a point where it's essentially them running all of this, and, you know, their reliance on Panthera is sort of reduced over time, and their reliance on donor funding is also reduced over time. But, you know, because we are a behavior change project, there's a few sort of key behavior change levers that we're trying to pull. So from an intrinsic side, you know, and for our consumers, we need to create that intrinsic desire to wear the synthetic amambata. Now, this for us is a targeted marketing campaign, which tries to create an association between the synthetic amambata and the preservation of the Shembe culture. For the traders, it's leveraging their intrinsic desire to provide for their families by making it much easier and much more profitable to sell the synthetic as opposed to the authentic amambata. Now, the intrinsic, extrinsic levers that we're going to be pulling for our consumers is we need to try and create sort of peer-to-peer communication in which sort of key social influences within the community, you know, whether that be church leaders or just highly, you know, valued individuals, they start wearing it and they start talking about the synthetics. And, you know, then we start to get this peer-to-peer communication, which really spreads the use and creates a sort of peer pressure effect to wearing it. Similarly, for traders, you know, the trade of leopard skins is illegal, and you do require a permit in South Africa to own a leopard skin. So there's that sort of extrinsic pressure already from the government for them to sort of stop this trade, and we can then provide the solution by providing them with a synthetic amambata and pull that behavior change lever through that. From here, you know, using the funding that we've now won, the $5,000, you know, we see that as sort of catalytic funding to relaunch the project and scale it up in many ways. And there's, I think, 3 key steps that we need to take here. The first is securing that donation from EcoPel. Unfortunately, the laws in South Africa are such that, you know, you do have to pay quite heavy duties and shipping on getting any sort of fabric from outside of the country here. The second one is developing a targeted sort of marketing material and campaign, and we've already started working with RARE in a campaigning for conservation behavior change course, and we'll be in the next few weeks designing some of those materials. So this money will certainly help us tremendously in developing that and getting those materials out there. And then the third step is to continue the research and design process to improve our garments. You know, throughout the prototype phase, we went to the Shembe community and asked them, you know, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And had held quite a few focus groups with them. And one of the key things that came out was that they wanted more variety. And so we've got version 1 of the luxury, but now we need, you know, version 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we can have a full range of different amambata that really captures the interest of everyone within the Shembe Church. And, you know, over the next 3 years, we're targeting the sale of at a bare minimum of 1,800 regular amambata, 540 luxury amambata, and to create these sort of 10 marketing segments with a music video with Shoma Josie is in the pipeline. We've got, you know, culturally appropriate radio adverts that we're working on that are paired with Shembe sermons. We're developing a children's activity book. We've got billboards coming out, and TV and print adverts. And so that's our target over the next 3 years to get all of that out. And this is essentially our team. It's myself, Gareth Whittington-Jones, Tristan Dickerson, and we're going to be expanding early next year with a Shembe relationship officer who will be hiring early this year. But, you know, essentially the team really is the Shembe Church. As I said before, this is their project, and you know, we're essentially the supporting function in many ways. So, you know, the team is the church itself. Thank you very much again for this amazing experience and opportunity, and for this award. It's truly an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Very much appreciated. All right, and now we're coming to the end here, and so we're just going to wrap up. I'm going to take back over the screen sharing and move it onto mine. And now we have one more thing that we'd like to announce, and I'm going to pass the mic over to Barbara Martinez here to be able to announce the Microfiber Innovation Challenge.
Hi, thank you, Tom. So congratulations to all of you, everyone who competed in the Connex Tech Prize. It was really, really enjoyable to hear the pitches in this event, and also to see all of the innovations that came through this round. But I wanted to briefly make you aware of our next Global Grand Challenge, which will launch on January 27th, 2021. This is the Microfiber Innovation Challenge. It's a competition with a $650,000 prize pool. We are running the challenge with the support of the Flotilla Foundation and the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations, and a number of great private and public sector partners, which you can see at our website, but include Under Armour, the Ocean Foundation, Think Beyond Plastic Foundation, Fashion for Good, and many, many others. The goal of the challenge is to source and reward upstream innovations to address microfiber pollution. We seek innovations in two sub-challenge categories, as you can see here. Replace textiles that are the sources of plastic microfibers with compostable alternatives, and prevent microfiber pollution through the development of improved textile manufacturing processes to decrease microfiber shedding. You can visit the website listed here to sign up for notifications on the challenge launch, and we hope that you can join us at the exciting digital launch of the challenge on January 27th. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so much, Barbara. And with that, we've reached the end of the very long road to the 2020 Connex Tech Prize Grand Prize finalists. And I would like to thank a number of people going through here. Thanks in particular, and I know that a number of the projects made this reference, but thank you to our Connex contributors who were members of our community on the digital makerspace, who came forward and said that they would like to dedicate more of their time to any one of these project teams. And so the project teams, the 20 finalists, were able to reach out to these skilled professionals and to incorporate them into their team and take advice on everything from project management to behavior change to technology choices and strategy. And most of the teams, I think, benefited very highly from working with the Connex contributors, who entirely voluntarily gave of their time and advice, and in many cases actual direct project work. So thank you very much to all of our Connex contributors for volunteering that time. I'd also like to thank Felicia Ung, Nikki Couture, and Robert Kraut at the Human-Computer Interaction Institute at Carnegie Mellon University. These have been partners of ours on the research side for the past 3 years and beyond. And we've worked with them every single year to help conduct research on the science of innovation itself, so that we can improve every single year on optimizing and iterating on tactics that we can use to increase the quality, novelty, and usefulness of the ideas and the projects coming through the Connex Tech Prize. And so we've been working with them consistently. Felicia has been conducting PhD research throughout this entire time, and defended her dissertation just this afternoon. And we're very proud of her, and we're very grateful for all of their assistance over the past 3 years. I would also like to thank our funders, the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation and the Schmidt Sciences Foundation. And thank you to all the project teams, all of the 20 finalists who have put so much sweat and effort into the last 12 weeks of prototyping. All of the projects that came through and all of the pitch decks that we reviewed and that our judges reviewed were extraordinarily good. And we are really proud of the work that's gone into this past 12 weeks and into these prototypes. We're so excited to continue to work with all of you, to continue to connect you to members of our community that are able to advise and build your teams out, and to be able to help you develop these into full-on scaled ventures to end extinction. Thank you to everybody who joined us today. We're hugely grateful to you, and that's the end.